Welcome to the Executive Outlook. Today, we are joined by Ananya Som, entrepreneur, ex-CDO, AI researcher, and co-founder of Data. She combines business model innovation, data strategy, and master data quality to transform internal data into usable products and drive ROI. Her practical approach helps teams become AI ready with confidence. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Isha. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. So I'm very excited to hear from you that you have worked across data strategy, data quality, and AI. So, what inspired you to start your own company and making organizations AI ready?
That's a great question. So I've been in the industry for more than 17 years now, and I've had the privilege to work with Tata Consultancy Services, Accenture, Tech Mahindra. After working with the best of the system integrator firms, it was time for me to look at how does the world look from the other side of the story. So that's why I took up the Chief Data Officer role in Coot Food Group Kuwait. And that gave me a 360 view of the industry of being part of consulting arms of system integrators and then joining a company and trying to consolidate its data. And then sort of told me that there's a lot of opportunity in the market for medium-sized companies in the Gulf region, in the Asian region, so to speak, to take that leap from being companies doing digital transformation to becoming AI ready. And that's why I thought it's the best to start your own firm, generate that awareness among leaders, and take the firms to their journey.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, in your experience in the data industry, what has been the biggest challenge in helping organizations through the complex data system and how you have actually overcome it?
I would say that the challenges are interrelated, specifically with workforce, because every technology a company is trying to adopt, there needs to be significant training in terms of what is going to be the target state holistically for the strategic stakeholders, for the tactical stakeholders, and then the operational stakeholders. So I would say that three things really sort of ease a company's journey rather than challenges. One is getting your workforce up to speed to what to expect with practical scenarios. Second is, of course, getting your applications or technology in place so that employees of the firm know how to use it well. And third is getting your data definitions right about what is a product, who is a supplier, who are your customers, and are they unique?
And that's great. So these are the challenges that within the department things are not clear. What does this means? What defines an order? What defines a customer? So is it different across different departments within the same organization? This is what you want to say, if I have understood it correctly.
By wearing a data lens, yes, the understanding is different and it is not documented. So, for example, a supply chain associate would have an understanding of a product specification slightly different from an employee in the logistics department and an employee in the operations department. So, there needs to be some standardizations in terms of product specification, in terms of inventory, so on and so forth. That's where data comes into the picture. It is a fairly well-defined journey which needs leadership empowerment. It needs initiatives with people who belong to different functions in an organization. And more importantly, the help and support of the chief technology officer or information officer, because they automate the business processes. And only when folks working with data like us who can bring in data standardization in terms of data quality, can bring in analytics in terms of machine learning, make it happen.
Making sure the leaders are on the same page, then it happens in an organization. And roughly how much time does it take?
Talk in terms of examples, and there's a fair amount of debate on what is a mid-size company. Now, we tried talking in terms of employees in the Gulf region. Less than 3,000 employees or less than 4,000 employees are a fair bet as a mid-size company. But when we think in terms of India, less than 5,000, 6,000 is a better number for medium scale companies, right? So for a medium scale company, I would say typically it would take 6 months of dedicated action with prerequisites to 6 months of 2 months, which is to prepare the stakeholders because there needs to be a sustained communication. And by the end of the 8th month, the mid-sized company should get a better sense of their data quality.
What is the after effect? Like before you share this problem, right? And once we are on a journey of 8 months working towards it, what is the after result?
Great question. How do we measure it, right? I'm talking in terms of retail firms, and every retail firm would have an annual budget. That budget is based on some firms do it on the number of transactions, some firms do it on the number of sales. Now, when companies do it basis sales, the error of that budget is significant because of data quality, because sales is what? A product SKU into cost. Now, the product SKU is a amalgamation of several other smaller entities which may have the data quality error. So I would say at the end of 8 months, possibly the head of business intelligence or the owners of a company who do the budget, they would see result after the annual budget that the deviation was significantly less and the actuals were on par with deviations, given the external market conditions did not fundamentally change.
I think because of this challenge also can be some situations where the revenue is showing differently on one department, differently on the second department, and differently on the third department. And after having everything into one place about understanding, making sure the leadership understands one language, then this type of situations also can resolve. You build trust on data, you build trust on the systems. Have you seen any instances around that as well?
You make a brilliant point, Isha. So, the whole journey of 6 months is about organizational learning, which is tacit knowledge, getting the definitions correct, documenting it, and then organizations at different levels, people using the same terminology, adds to that organizational learning, which is the stepping stone for an organization to become AI ready. So once the definitions start coming in line, the foundation is set in place, then it's much easier for senior executives to take a call that do we really need our company's chat GPT, as an example.
For a company that is just starting, so what do you think will be the step by step strategy so they can minimize the early challenges and they can build the momentum and they don't have to redo the entire?
So we have a very simple framework which has components of machine learning, data quality, and foundational elements of generating awareness in the workforce. We call it our honeycomb approach. There are 7 blocks to it. And in our framework, we basically talk of very simple 3 things. One is understand your transactions in terms of what kind of sales customers generate. So in machine learning terms, do clustering of your customer sales data due to promotions. After that, take that data and sort of predict from that data what should be sales. And third is capturing customer feedback related to those sales. So it's a cycle with 3 basic elements of customer engagement, analysis of those customer engagement data and predicting, and then getting a feedback from customers. So this is in simple business parlance. In machine learning parlance, that would be investing in a lot of clustering algorithms with NIME as a platform, which is a free data wrangling tool, followed by looking at regression algorithms for prediction, followed by looking at sentiment algorithms for doing predictive customer sentiment analysis, right? Now, to get this framework in place, we have the 7 step honeycomb. That is, every organization we work with, we try and understand their current state, and then for them to get to their target state by the end of 8 to 10 months, what sort of business processes have that maturity to adopt? So, I have been predominantly talking about customer engagement followed by product SKUs with their master data. And that is in the order to cash cycle. Maybe some firms want to start with their procure to pay. So that's what I mean by understanding a company's vision and goals. Where do they want to make that difference? Where do they want to bring in machine learning, which their workforce is able to understand, adopt, and contribute? The 7 blocks are to do with getting that business goal correct, having an operating model to sort of make it work for process, people, and technology, getting the data foundational blocks correct, and doing a lot of communication about it with identified metrics.
Can you tell me some of the use cases which you have solved with this framework?
As I have been talking about, the fundamental use cases are getting sense of promotions which were done, how effective were they? Pre-promotion, what was the understanding? Post-promotion, what has been the effect? And hence the cyclic loop. This is somewhere we have significantly worked with clustering algorithms. Then the second bit of it is customer sentiment analysis. Now, that's where it's important to generate awareness that, if a company generates 10,000 transactions in a day, it's not necessary that the company is able to capture 10,000 feedbacks, because what's there to incentivize the customer to give a feedback? So that's where all data professionals have this gap in terms of getting data. So data completeness, if data is complete, out of 10,000 transactions, say 8,000 people have given a feedback, what is the data correctness of it? The data correctness needs significant data quality business rule evaluation, which is human assisted, because there are different languages in which people like to give their feedback, and it's an open text feedback, right? So these are some of the things as data professionals we have to set as a foundation for the workforce to understand to becoming identity.
That's amazing. So, if we have the data in place and then the data completeness and correctness should be there, then we can train machine learning AI models to generate the right outcome and understand the sentiment of the customers, what they have after the promotion or how the experience was, and accordingly we can make the changes in the business. So this is will be one of the scenarios which you have had. And what was the impact of it?
So impact is massive organizational learning, which is the impact of digital transformation itself. So adopting AI is an iterative journey for humankind, irrespective of large companies, mid-scale companies. We are in an interesting time that we have so many productivity tools like ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini, where we can test things at a personal level, but the moment we bring it to an organizational level, it needs to be iterative because an organization is made of its people. Now, biggest question the CXOs have today is what is my firm going to be in 3 years from now or 5 years from now with respect to my workforce? That's a gap we are indirectly solving by making organizations AI ready. Because when we drive an initiative for 8 months and by the end of the 10th month, certain level of evaluation is done by the human resources of that firm, the impact is on organizational learning, on skill development, on effectively contributing by using productivity tools. As a result, what's the revenue impact?
That's so true. We'll get to know where the challenge is coming, and then if we know the challenge, then only we will be able to solve it by investing in different areas, either upskill people or upskilling the way we are running the systems. If you want to put one metrics on the CEO's dashboard to track the data, whether it's related to data or AI, so what would you create the dashboard, that metric, and why you will create it?
Whatever drives that company in terms of customers, in terms of product SKUs, get a count of your unique customers, your unique products, and hence your transactions. That is a significant measure of data quality of what it was versus what it is and what it is going to be. So, single metric, get a handle on your data quality for your customers and products.
So people are using a lot of tools to measure, and sometimes the tools and softwares which they are using already have these kind of matrices in place, right? So one question that comes to them that hey, why do we need to bring in all the data, have data warehouse, data lake infrastructure, and why to say invest so much money? So what are your thoughts on it?
That's again to do with every company is like organism. The number of years the company has been working with, it is made of people. So there is data in some spreadsheets, there is data in some ERP, there is data in some visualization tool which has been shown as a dashboard. But there is no ownership about do the all these sources make sense. The purpose of a visualization tool like a Tableau or a Power BI is different from the purpose of a data warehousing tool from the purpose of a data ingestion tool, right? Now, for a mid-sized company, given their revenue, what should be their spend to become AI ready is a relevant question. And that's where we come in and we give solutions which are palatable, which are bite sized and not something which is made for the large scale organizations. So when CXOs of mid-sized companies say that, we have all the things going together, I would still request through your forum a conversation with them just to check if the pain points are sufficiently met, then don't touch your systems. But without proper data quality, becoming AI ready, or bringing in your firm's chat GPT, or if you need it even, is a question I think every CXO is thinking. So, conversation we must have to consolidate for a future.
That's great. All right. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay. So, what are the mistakes in your mind that people are doing with data monetization or data storage, and how do we avoid the mistakes?
Well, I personally feel we have to make mistakes to learn, but as an advisory firm, what we have repeatedly seen is that technology is the right arm and business objective is the left arm, and the right arm does not talk to the left arm. And it's a classic problem across the industry, and it has been there forever. So that's why our framework is to do with a business objective that look at the kind of transactions that are getting generated by your customers. Start from there. You can't go wrong. Now, if you're starting from there and a data engineering component is sort of a horizontal, which does not just support customer interaction, that's a valid point coming from a CIO or a CTO. But in a 8-month initiative, what we try and do is give this big picture from which is like top to bottom as well as bottoms up, a view, so that after 8 months, people have that traceability that why were we doing this?
And what should the companies do to make sure that they are adopting the AI, but that is safe and that is responsible?
So, Isha, I would like to say that as an industry practitioner and somebody who is actively trying to generate awareness in mid-section firms, mid-sized firms, safety is really not a concern other than cybersecurity threat of data leak. But other than that, machine learning with statistics does not really have a safety issue in trying to generate transactions or predicting or classifying or clustering. That's one part of it. But if the question is more from a industry's viewpoint of ethical AI, then of course it's the European Union which has been coming up with guidelines. I would say the Asian continent needs to sort of contribute there, whether it's a government led initiative or whether it is initiatives driven by practitioners like ourselves, is something we need to find out in the scope of time. Ethical AI is a larger question, but for my customer segment of mid scale companies, it's more to do with data privacy and cybersecurity threats rather than in adopting machine learning for bringing in transformation.
So, like, I was in one of the conference and a question was asked that, hey, if we will gonna use the AI, I don't want to share my customer related data with AI models. So, what do you want to answer for this question?
It's fairly simple. It's like if anybody is using a ChatGPT or SaaS analytics tool or a Gemini, sufficient contractual agreements are signed that what data is exposed through the company policies of that cloud provider. And the cloud provider can be at a SaaS level, at an application layer, at an infrastructure layer, such as the AWS of the world. So it is to do with awareness where you and I and more people have to give examples and say that, hey, do not upload a company's document with financials in it into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to process it. That is incorrect. But how do we coach the workforce with so much of energy out there to say, remove personally identifiable information, confidential information from a company's document? That is not something that can go into a ChatGPT or a Gemini. But when a company sort of builds a wrapper based on an employee's user credentials, there should be just wrappers to say that coach the employee to say remove these terms and upload the document and see where are the gaps for your learning purposes. So it's just exhaustively coaching, generating awareness, incentivizing it.
I know that GCP, the Google Cloud, is sharing that document about the confidentiality that your data will not be leaked. Same goes to AWS and Azure. So I don't know about Azure, but I know about GCP. So how we can take this steps forward to contact to the companies and get it ready for this agreement.
So most of the mid-sized firms are already working with some vendor. The trick is just to build on that, unless of course there is some inadvertent issues which may have happened in the past. Just build on that stack. keep creating that awareness. And as more and more people become savvy with the process of how they are using it, the fear goes down.
Okay, that's it from my side. Thank you so much, Ananya, for sharing your insights and real examples. It's been a pleasure having you on the executive.
Thank you so much, Isha. You have a great one ahead.
Thank you.